It's great to see you. Wave at me if you can see, if you can hear me. Woo, woo. Okay, good to see you, Roxanne and Aaron and Deborah. I'm going to need for you to turn your cameras on in the classroom. So that will help. Thanks, Deborah. How are you?
You're muted. Oh.
All
I'm
right.
fine, thank you. How are
Good.
you?
I'm fine. Good to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Let's see. Michelle, are you okay? You all right? Okay. Want everybody to be good. Okay, Jessica, I see you. Good morning. Monica, hello. Hi, Clint. Nidra or Nedra?
Nedra.
Nedra. I was right the first time.
You were.
Yeah. Nedra. Very good. So we're still waiting for Aaron and Roxanne. Gotta get them turned on. Okay. All right.
We don't really have to wait. If we'll just get started because it's after time to get started.
Okay. So tell me what your name is again, because it's not on the screen.
Donna.
Donna, got it.
Yes. And I'm going to mute myself too so you don't hear the background music noise here.
All right. Well, good morning. It is 7:34. I'm in California. And so you got to know that I love doing this because I got up at 5. What? Okay. to be at the main session at 6. So I'm so excited to be here with you. And we are going to jump in because we have 6 sessions of a lot to do. I hope you all were able to download the handouts for the seminar, all right, for all our workshops. It's a continuing class, so I'm just going to run kind of from beginning to end. So I'm not exactly sure where we're going to stop each day. It just depends on your questions, you know, and things like that. But I'm always able to get from A to Z. So that we will definitely do. All right, so let's just pray and we'll jump in. Dear God, we thank you so much for this opportunity of being together at this conference. Thank you for reducing the miles, Lord, and allowing us to do this. And we just honor you, and I lift this continuing session up to you. And I pray, Lord, that even though I've prepared the things that I want to say, I pray that you give me what you want your people to hear. And so I thank you for helping me to be a part of their writing journey. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Hello, Wanda. Good to see you. Now, here are the ground rules. You get to ask me anything at any time. If you don't understand something, right, put it over in the chat or raise your hand and I can see you, and unmute yourself and ask. All right. I did a stint of 35 years in the classroom. All right. High school English. So I'm not afraid of you. I was in front of teenagers, right? Every day. So that's what I'm used to. So I'm used to them just asking when they feel like asking. So that's what I would love for you to do as well. All right, so once again, I'm going to request, beg, plead for you to keep your cameras on. So Roxanne, if you are in the room, please turn your camera on so that we can all see one another. So here's the first thing I'd like for you to do right quick. Type into the chat where you are in the world. Let's see where you are. Okay. Delaware, Pennsylvania, Lancaster. I've been to Lancaster. All right, New Jersey, Connecticut, Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Excellent. All right. I guess I should put mine in there too, right? So I am near, whoop, whoop, LA. Okay. All right. Well, good to see all of you. And we're going to go ahead and jump in. Now, did you get the email about your sticky notes? If you have your sticky notes and your Sharpie, like I've written all of mine already, but got your sticky notes, got your Sharpie, right? And if you can see in my background, I'm going to be using this board right here, right, on my easel to show you what I want you to do with your sticky notes. If you don't have sticky notes, great. Take the notes, write it down. You will be able to understand what I'm talking about. Deborah, I do not know how to access the handouts. Donna, if you know how to answer that for her.
On the dashboard, there should be instructions for how to get to the handouts. On the right-hand side, if you scroll down, I believe there's handouts there. They
Okay.
might not be available immediately, but I think if Marlene got them in time, she put them up already.
Yeah, they're available because, right, there's a lot of folks in the class who already downloaded them, so I know they are available for you.
And
Okay.
Clint just put the link in the chat room. Thank you, Clint.
Oh, Clint, you are all that in a bag of chips. Thanks, Clint. I already read your work, so we're gonna be talking later. Okay. I know you already, Clint. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen with you. Okay, so this is going to be from idea to manuscript to masterpiece, and it is actually the first of the master classes that I teach in my Authorize Me Academy. I'll tell you more about that as we go along. But let's get going. So I want to start out by talking about the magic of storyboarding. Now, before you saw, well, no, let's go. Let's keep going. My personal introduction, I'm going to keep that kind of short. I've been in this business now for 30 years. And I started out just like all of you started out. I don't know where everyone is in your writing journey, but if you're brand new, I started out brand new. I didn't know anything about this business at all. I read books. That was as close to knowing about publishing as I got. All right. And so when I went to my first writers conference, I didn't know anything about the business. I followed directions, and here I am 30 years later, all right, with 12 books published. The 13th I just turned in to my publisher, and there's a 7-book children's series that I've also have contracted. I'm really excited about that. But I write for parents, women. I've written a devotional. I write all kinds of different genres. So when somebody tells you, find your lane and stick in your lane, well, all right, I'm not so sure, right? So we'll talk about some of that also. I am married. I have 2 grown sons who are in their 30s, and I have 3 of the most adorable grandchildren on the planet that if you stick with me to the end of this conference, you will be seeing pictures of them. Okay, so because they give me, my sons and my grandchildren give me a lot of my material. All right, so that's just enough about me. I already told you I taught for 35 years. I just retired in August of 2020 to now do this full time. So I am a consultant and coach, and now I am a literary agent. All right, enough about me. This is a proprietary method that I'm going to teach you. So if you see in your handouts, the first page, well, the second page, I guess, of your handouts is an agreement. And I would just like for you to read through that to know basically that this is instruction. I can't promise you publishing. I can't promise you that you're going to sign me or I'm going to sign you for me to be your agent. And also, we need to talk about our different projects that we're working on. So this agreement, you're promising that you are going to keep everyone's book ideas, right, in confidence. I already know that you are not here to write somebody else's book. It's enough trouble trying to write your own. Okay, so it's just nice to know that there's an agreement. If you were in my Authorize Me Academy, I would have you actually fill this out, sign this agreement, and send it to me. Just keeping everybody honest. All right. So that's what that's all about. Okay. Each of you will construct a storyboard for your personal book project. So that's exciting. So you're going to actually go away with something in your hands. I'm excited about that. All right. That you are going to be able to move with to continue to make your book proposal, which is essential for submitting your book to a royalty publisher. So everything you're going to need to formulate your book proposal is going to be on this storyboard. Almost everything is going to be on this storyboard, and you're going to be able to draw from that. Okay. So far, so good, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what is the definition of a storyboard? A storyboard is a highly visible planning tool, and any large surface will do, right? It can be a board, a window. Sliding glass doors are excellent. So if you're sitting by some sliding glass doors, they're great because the sticky notes stick on those really well, right? It doesn't leave a residue or anything like that. The floor, your desktop, anything works, right? Just a large surface. Okay, now the history of storyboarding is really cool. It started with Walt Disney. Now we know Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Company makes a bazillion of dollars every year, right? And so if it was a Disney idea, this must be great. Actually, Walt Disney came up with this idea. He would go into his studio, and the cartoonists, right, would be leaning over their tables drawing, and he would not know what was happening. And so he began to take the pictures and tack them up, right, pin them up on the wall so he could watch the story. And if the story got to a place that he did not like, all he needed to do, take that down. Maybe he would move the rest together, or maybe he would put something else in that place and then keep going. Well, it was so easily adaptable that this now is the standard of the movie industry. If you get any of those, I'm going to date myself right now, right? CDs or DVDs, right, of movies, they will have extra pieces on it beside the movie. And normally you can go and see the background of that movie being made. And inevitably you will see the storyboard up on the wall, right? Well, other companies and industries have caught on to this idea and have started using storyboarding in the planning of all the things that they do. And so we're using it today in our writing to think through, to brainstorm, right, our ideas and get it out in front of us so that we can look at it, organize it, and bring it all together. So thank you, Walt Disney. However, it was not only just Walt Disney, it was Walt Disney's mother who actually came up with this, because she used to put the chores up on the wall at home. And that's where Walt got the idea. So yay, moms. Okay, all right. So what are the benefits of storyboarding? Okay, it's going to allow us to get a clear picture of your project. All right, now here's my first soapbox, and I'm going to be standing up on a soapbox a lot, and then I'll sit back down. All right, so first soapbox. If you cannot tell me what your book is about in one sentence, you do not know what your book is about. If I ask you, okay, so, which I will be doing, any of you who have appointments with me later during the week or during this, I guess we call this a weekend, right? If you have an appointment with me, I want to hear, right? Well, you tell me, even though I've read your piece, your one sheet, what have you, tell me what your book is about. So see, now I'm giving you a hint. If you can't do it in one word, not one word, that would be awesome. In one sentence, then you're not sure, right? So what I'm saying is, if you have to explain what your idea is, you don't have it focused enough yet. All right. So a storyboard, a benefit of storyboarding is to get a clear picture of your book. Another benefit is to flesh the idea out, right? If you started writing this book, most of you have probably started writing the book, right? Because you didn't know how to do this planning part, and that's okay. You know, we're going to go back and do the planning part now. But you're probably finding out, well, you know, I really need to fill this in over here, or this needs a little more of that. And so your storyboard is going to help you flesh out the whole idea. It is a quick, fun, and comprehensive way to outline. All right, now don't leave me just because I said outline, right? You have to be able, right, to take this step by step by step. And that outline, what is it called in a book? A table of contents. It's just an outline, right? And so you've got to be able to outline it and then outline those pieces, right? So I'm going to show you how to do all of that. It is also a great way to police your deadline. All right, soapbox. If you cannot meet a deadline in this business, you are out of this business. All right. This business runs on calendars and runs on, you know, this has to be in at this point, then this happens, and we'll explain some of that about what really goes on, right, in the publishing house. We'll get to all that. I just turned in my 13th book, you all. Woo! All right, and I had a deadline of June 15th. And when I retired on August 3rd, 2020, I jumped straight into my business. And so I have clients, and the literary agency has been growing, and I'm taking care of my clients and all of this, but I had a contract in my hand, and I kept working with other people and working with other people. So it got down and down and down until like the last month and a half, I still had that book to finish, right? But the process I'm teaching you today, I use myself, and I had outlined and organized it so precisely that when I got backed up against the wall, which I don't like to do, but I did, got backed up against the wall, I was able to stick to my plan and get it done, right? It was due the 15th. I did miss it by an hour and 37 minutes. So I actually turned it in at 1:37 a.m., right, on the 16th, but it was still dark. So technically that was the 15th, right? Okay. So got it turned in. So your storyboard is going to be able to police your deadline. And here's a huge part. Your storyboard is going to enable you to involve other people's input. Now you might ask, this is my book. What do I need other people's input for? Well, you are not writing the book for yourself. You are writing it for other people. Okay, so let them be a part of the planning stage. And I'll show you how to use your storyboard to help them be a part of your planning. And that will give you valuable information, I promise you, for what you will want to include in your book. All right. So what you'll need, we've already gone over that. A board, a table, a wall, a window, a floor. These cool 3-fold presentation boards, you know, from high school, you guys, or elementary school, right? Your kids might have had to use those. We didn't have those when I was in high school. You had to make your own stuff. Anyway, you can get that anywhere, or just use the wall or what have you. Some sticky notes. When I started doing this whole process, we weren't using sticky notes. We were using the lovely ta-da, index cards, right? So you had to have a bunch of push pins and you had to have a cork board or whatever. All right, now the sticky notes make all the difference in the world. Okay. And you need tons of ideas, right? Get past how amazing you are and realize that there are lots of other ideas that can be included in what you want to write, okay? So you've got your ideas, but you're gonna listen to other people, you're going to look around, you're going to look at the news, you're going to find out what people are talking about. All of those things, right, are going to feed in to your book. Okay, so what's the technique of storyboarding? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw those ideas up first. So first we're just going to brainstorm. I'm just going to have you dump it out of your brain, no particular order of each column that we're going to work on. Then after all of that, then we'll step back from it and counter. It's like, okay, this looks a lot like this. So maybe these are kind of the same, or this is a part of something else, right? Then we'll start countering. And not until we do all of that, the brainstorming and the countering, do we then streamline. And so when I say toss them out, okay, you got to know I'm also a Baptist preacher. So Baptist preachers always have to have 3-point outlines and things start with the same letter. You know how that goes. And so throw them up means brainstorming, turn them around, countering, toss them out. Toss them out doesn't really mean toss them out. We're never going to throw anything away, right? Which is why we have files and files of stuff, right? If there's an idea that doesn't quite fit, that might be book 2, right? So we're just going to sit it over to the side and narrow down everything that's going to go in the book that we are talking about. Okay, here are the rules. No criticism. You don't even get to criticize yourself, right? You don't get to say, that's a stupid idea. No, keep it up there, right? The more ideas you have, the better. And the wilder the idea, the better. All right, so let me ask you a question. I want you to unmute and tell me, someone aloud, are there lots of books about prayer? Who can give me the answer?
They're easy to find. I don't know.
There
if
you
there's
go, Jessica, thank you. Yes, there are lots of books on prayer. Question 2. do we continue to need books on prayer?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, but that second book or the new book has to be a little bit different, doesn't it?
Yes.
From the other book. And that book is going to come out of where? Your soul, right? Your personality is going to grow out of what you have to say, the way you have to say it, right? And so the wilder the idea, maybe I'm not going to just write about, maybe I'll write a book about praying and all the different positions, right, that the Bible says I could pray in, right? I can be standing up, I can be on my knees, I could be flat on my face, or what have you. I saw somebody, who is that? Driving, right? You're driving in the car. If you're driving the car, you better pray, right? And if you're driving in LA, you better pray a lot, right? But I better not close my eyes, right, while I'm praying. So you get the idea. So the wilder the idea, the better. And then hitchhike on an idea. One idea will make you think of something else, or someone else says something and says, oh, if you're doing that, then do this, right? So we hitchhike on ideas. Okay. Finally, the focus group. You're sort of going to act as each other's focus group as our focus group as we go through this today. So I want you to chime in when we get to these places. But a focus group is a group of people who you have brought together to help develop the ideas for your book. You will choose a group of people who are representative of the audience that you want your book to reach. So, for example, my newest book, the one I just turned in, is entitled Didn't See That Coming, When How They're Living's Not How You Raise Them. Okay, so it's obviously for parents of adult children, and those adult children are no longer in the control of their parents, and they're doing some crazy stuff, right? So, how do I handle that, right? Okay, I see a hand up. Who is that? And you know what? When I have you small, I don't get to see your name.
Deborah has her hand up.
Okay,
but
Deborah.
that might
Got a
have
question, Deborah?
No, I wanted to say something early. I'm sorry.
And-
I can't hear
I
Sharon.
couldn't hear either.
Yeah, you're muted.
I'm
What
sorry.
happened?
I must have accidentally hit the mute when I was turning around.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. Am I back? I'm back. Okay,
You're back.
Deborah, go ahead with your comment.
No. That was much earlier. I apologize.
Okay.
Now this is better.
From now on, I'll try to pay attention a little more, or else when you have something that's burning and you just have to say it, wave or something. Okay, very good. Moving on.
That's going out.
All right, so ideally that group is 4 to 8 people. So I was mentioning the book I just did. So while I'm pulling that book together, if I wanted to have a formal focus group, I would pull together some parents of grown children and ask them some questions, right, about what they would need if they were going to read a book like this, or what have you. And then we bounce ideas off. Okay, so let's get started. So let me see what it is. 8:01, and for me. And so we still have 44 minutes. So we're doing good. All right, so the topic card, and we're going to call the sticky notes, we're going to call them cards, because sticky notes is 3 syllables and cards is just 1. All right. So I have more time. All right. So, all right. So on that card, I want you to write a succinct phrase that clearly states what your book is about. Notice I did not say a title. We're not looking for titles. We're looking for a succinct phrase of what your book is about. So I'm working on a new book, and my topic, so I have topic on the top of the card, very simple. And I'm writing a book on how to get God's attention. All right. So that is not the title of the book. That would be a boring title. But that's what my book is about. How to get God's attention. So make a topic card. And when you finish that, you're going to put it at the top in the center of your storyboard. Now, you can see that I put it in the center at the top. Okay. So that is going to stay in front of you all the time. Nothing goes on this storyboard that is not on that card, right? If what you are writing is not, if what I'm writing is not about how to get God's attention, it doesn't go on my storyboard. Okay. So I'm going to keep it ever before me. All right. Now you're going to start making columns, right? So again, if you can see my storyboard here. These orange ones are going to be the names of the columns, and then underneath we're going to write other things on other cards. So the first column is called objectives. And then on the bottom, so put objectives in large print, and then along the bottom of the card, put mission of the book. Mission of the book. And this card goes under your topic card, but all the way to the left of your storyboard. And you're going to start a column under objectives. Okay. Now, you're going to answer these questions. Why are you writing this book? And then you can ask the question in a different way that might jog your mind to think something else. What do you want your book to accomplish? You're going to put one idea per card. So for example, with my book about getting God's attention, why am I writing this book? So women will know they can get God's attention, right? I'm writing this book to encourage the reader to turn to God. I'm writing the book to show that God responds to the needs of his children. I'm writing so women will know how to get God's attention. You see, my first one said, so women will know they can get God's attention, but I also want them to know how to get God's attention. So that's two different things, right? So it goes on two different cards. So you won't finish today during the class, but I want you to write at least 3 or 4, right? Why are you writing this book? Answer that. And then you're going to place each card under, in a line, in a column, under the objectives. Okay, so I know we're being recorded, so I'm going to keep jabbing so that there is no lag time. But while you are writing, I want you to now become brave. And somebody tell us your topic, and your objectives.
I guess I'll answer the thing on there.
So who wants to chime in? Okay, Wanda.
Okay, so my topic is it's a memoir of my experience with my 108-year-old grandfather
Wow.
as his chosen vessel to share for future generations.
Okay. So memoir of a 108-year-old granddad.
Yes.
All right. So why are you writing this book?
To fulfill the mission of the book is to do as Jesus commanded, to share the good news.
Okay. What else?
And it's to share the legacy that has been left for future generations.
Okay. You got anything else?
Yes. Yes. It's to ensure that the legacy that was left by my grandfather, that it will never be forgotten.
Okay.
It's also to share the legacy that were left by his parents, who were also centurions.
Nice. All right. So you get the idea. That was great. Wanda, you get a gold star. Yay. All right. Beautiful. All right. One other person, and then we're going to move on to the next column. Be brave.
I'll go.
Okay. All right. I said a couple people, so we can do a couple. See, I tricked you. So I see Deborah, and I also see, how come I'm not getting named? I gotta make this wider. Okay, I had a bunch of names and now I've lost the names for some reason. Okay, so you have on glasses and you're doing your hands like this. Yes. What's your name?
Okay. Nedra.
Nedra. Okay, so Nedra,
Yeah.
I actually saw your hand first. And so Nedra and then Deborah.
Okay. The objective of my book is to share, this is a memoir / fiction, to share a personal love relationship with two young people, and to express the growing relationship, and then what happens when the soldier who went to Vietnam didn't come back, dealing with grief without hope.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Excellent. I read your one sheet also. Okay, cool. All right. So what is, you said at least 3 things there. So can you narrow down, what is your book about? My book is about
A love relationship.
a love relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you want your book to accomplish?
I would like it to be a tribute to the soldier that went to Vietnam and didn't come back, that he had a purpose in life.
Okay.
I would like to help people who go through grief, and there are a lot of suicidal people, and I would like to have hope in the story when they live through despair. And then ultimately shine the light of hopefulness in Christ through the story.
Nedra, I think your book is about grief and overcoming grief.
Okay.
The relationship is going to be illustrative of, what you go through and all of that, right? But yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go with that. Okay, Deborah.
Okay. So my topic is how to live and not die.
Ooh,
And my objectives or my mission is to help people live victoriously, to learn how to persevere, and to live and not just survive.
Amen.
okay. So where's the and not die part come in?
Because, okay,
See, now here comes the explanation. Go ahead.
okay, so living in not just the natural sense, but dying, I don't mean necessarily in the natural sense, but like dying inwardly or dying your dreams, dying and things like that. So it kind of ties into living and not just surviving, but you're going to actually thrive and not, maybe I'm.
Okay, okay. So really, your book is about how to live, how to really live.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's what your book's about. So let's put that as your topic, right? How to really, maybe you put underline really, or something. Okay. And then in the book, Deborah, you can tell us about, all the death parts of stuff.
Okay.
Because how to avoid those things that you're talking about.
All right.
All right. Okay, excellent. So you guys get the idea, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's move on. Now for each of these columns, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to add to them, as we go through the evening, right? As you go through the evening, when the conference is over and you're thinking about it, you're gonna add to your columns and you're gonna fill it in, right? More. So let's go on to the next. So now the next column is benefits. So large across the card, you're going to write benefits. And then across the bottom part of the card, you're going to write the reader will, and then use an ellipse, right? Those three little dots. The reader will. Now this is your next column. So benefits will go just to the right of objectives. Okay. So now this time, here's what you're going to do. You're going to answer these questions. What will the reader gain by reading this book? So you see, you're going to answer. The reader will, okay, and then you're also going to answer, this is just saying the same thing in a different way. What promises does the book make to the reader? See, whenever you pick up a book in a bookstore, and then especially if you buy it, that book has made some kind of promise to you. The title promised you something. The back cover promised you something. It promised to fill some need you have. Maybe it was just something you were looking up and you are interested in that subject. Maybe it's reading about the particular person. If it's a memoir, maybe it's for some need you have inside of you, right? And the title speaks to that need. Okay, so what promise is your book making to the reader? So all of this ties into, here's one of your vocabulary words for writers, takeaway, right? What is the takeaway value? So what I mean by that is when someone finishes reading your book, they close it, they put it down, what will they take away, right? What will they remember about the book? What about the book has changed their life? These are the benefits. And notice we're thinking them up in advance. We don't want to leave this to chance, right? We want to know what we want our book to help our reader do, right? Or be, or what have you. So what will the reader gain? And once again, you're going to put one idea per card. So my example now, and And with this time, you are going to number your card. Now, that doesn't mean that things are in order, but you'll see. Just stick with me. Do what I tell you the way I tell you to do it, and it will come clear why I'm saying it. So these, for each of these cards, you're going to put on it B1, B2, B3, right, for benefit, B4, to make sure that we're ready for the next column. But here are some benefits of the book on how to get God's attention. The reader will realize she can get God's attention. She will know how to get God's attention. She will know that God cares about and is interested in her needs. She will know that God will do something about her personal situation, and etc. All right. So what will the reader gain? All right, a couple of minutes to jot those down and put those up on your storyboard. Well, the birds are really singing outside my window this morning.
Sounds nice.
It's nice. I have a huge lemon tree in my backyard, and it produces, like I told you, I'm in Southern California. It produces all year long. And so many lemons that we throw lemons away. But I use them. My husband hates this tree because he's the one usually cleaning up lemons, but I will not let him cut this tree down. And the birds love this tree. So we have singing in the mornings. It's a lovely thing. All right, what will the reader gain? Okay, so let's hear from a couple of you. All right, somebody else gets to be brave this time. Okay, go. Again, for some reason, I have lost the names on my screen. So you have
I'm Michelle. I'll
Michelle.
go.
Good. Okay, go, Michelle.
The benefit I have is
Wait, first of all, tell us what your book is about.
okay. The topic is personal growth and maturity in relationship with God.
Okay.
And my objective, the mission of the book is to show people that God heals today, to inspire faith, and to provide a way to share my testimony.
Okay. So it's about healing?
Yes.
Okay. So that should be somewhere in your topic. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Excellent. So when I walk away from the book, what will I gain? Tell me again.
The reader will know that God can heal complex problems such as addiction. The reader will know that God can heal loss of a parent, and the reader will know that God can heal depression.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Okay. Somebody else want to share? Come on. Clint? Okay, Clint, good.
So, sorry, my board is over there. So,
Okay.
So the topic of my book is lament in corporate worship.
Uh-huh.
I won't read all the objectives because I put a bunch up there, but to help the church make space for sorrow on Sundays.
Okay.
And to help sufferers have a voice in corporate worship, and to equip believers, to equip believers to walk with others in their pain.
All right. Oh, ooh, you got a See, when you get a all right, you're on to something.
So then the benefits, believers will find hope in the midst of their pain.
Uh-huh.
They will know that God invites honesty in the midst of heartache. Believers will be equipped to be honest about their struggles, and they will be, another one is they will know how to walk with others in suffering.
Nice. Okay, good job. So everybody get the idea of the benefits? Yes? Okay, such a good class. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm making sure. All right, good. Making sure our time is what it should be. All right, the next column is called distinctives. All right, so big across the top, distinctives. And then on the bottom of the card, you will write, because the book will. And you're going to put an ellipse in front of the because and after the will. And that's because this is a continuation of the sentence that you started with the benefits. Okay, so distinctives, because the book will. Okay, so this is the next column to the right of benefits. And you're going to number these D1, D2, D3. But these, you're going to match them. Now, this is where the work comes in. You're going to match each benefit with a distinctive. So how will the book satisfy its promises to the reader? Match each benefit with a distinctive. So here's how you do this. You look at your benefits and you say, okay, benefit number one, the reader will realize she can get God's attention. That's under benefits, because the book will show how biblical characters got God's attention, right? So in the benefit, in the distinctives column, you are writing exactly what will happen in the book to make that benefit happen, right? Here's another way to say it. Okay, here's my benefit, but what page can I turn to in the book where I'll actually find that thing being addressed? Okay, so my first benefit was the reader will realize she can get God's attention because the book will show how biblical characters got God's attention. So that one matches that one. Number two, the reader will know how to get God's attention because the book will teach prayer techniques so she can speak to God effectively. Okay. And I'll give your third example. The reader will know that God cares about and is interested in her needs because the book will give examples of different types of needs God supplies. Okay? So each of your benefits needs to match with a distinctive. Exactly how is the book going to do this? So if you say something like a benefit is that people will walk more closely with God, right? That's great. How is the book going to make that happen? See? That's a really lofty thing, right? People will walk closely with God. Okay. Or people will trust God more. Okay, that's wonderful. Now, how is the book going to make somebody trust God more? What's actually in the book that's going to do that? This is kind of, again, I'm jabbering, I know. So I hope you can think while I'm talking, because we don't want an empty tape. Right? But it's very important. We have lots of lofty ideas about what we want the book to do, but how am I going to make that happen, right? So that's what this whole column is about, right? Making it happen. Okay. So I want you to get at least, get about at least 2 or 3 down, and then you'll be doing it yourself. Now, this is the kind of thing that in my Authorize Me Academy, I have 12 master classes. This is the first one that takes you from idea to manuscript to masterpiece, right? So you guys are getting the truncated version, right, of what we do in 6 months. All right. So we meet twice a month for 2 hours. And, I really kind of hold your hand, and we do this in a group. So it's a lot of fun. And we go all the way through until at the end of those 12 master classes, you have a complete book proposal that's been edited and your 3 sample chapters. So you are ready to actually submit it to a publisher. All right. So you are getting the freeway version, right, of this. So if any of you want to get in on the next semester of that starts in September. So you'll already know what to expect. Or you could do another book, see? Because you'll be like, oh, writing a book is this easy? Fine, let me write 8 more. Okay. So what also goes in this column, and I'm just going to mention these and then you're going to fill these in later, what are the features of this book? So when we talk about features, this column gets kind of long, or it can, be wider. But features are the special things, right, that go in the book. So maybe there'll be pictures, definitely. Who was that who talked about Granddad? What's your name again? Wanda? Yes? Okay. So Wanda, I definitely want to see pictures of your granddad and pictures of his parents, and little, explanations under the pictures. If you have recipes, they might go in there. Features would also be, all of my books have what I call step aside sections. I don't wait until the end of the book to suggest that you write something, or maybe look up this verse and respond to it, or journal about this, right? So the books, like I said, I taught teenagers for forever. And so you have to entertain teenagers and make things interactive, right? So that's how I think. So that I put that in my book. So those things are features, okay? Ask yourself what's special about this book, right? So this is the point in my seminars where you've met me, you've fallen in love with me already. I can say almost anything to you and I won't hurt your feelings. All right. So this is the place where I say to all of the memoir writers, right, who you are writing your life story, right? I want to ask you a very important question right here. Who cares? All right. If you are not famous, no one is looking for your story. And although your story is special to you, right, that doesn't necessarily make it something that 10,000 people or more want to read. Now that I've crushed your heart, I am going to fix it, right? Because maybe we don't know about you, but we probably can identify with what you've been through. And I can learn and grow and be comforted if you've got an answer for what you've been through. So until you're famous and people are looking for your story, flip that story over and let the story be about what you learned.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then use your story as examples of the points you're making, right? One of the I was teaching this seminar at Sandy Cove. You folks from back east, right? You're familiar with Sandy Cove. I love that place. Please talk to them about having something where they'll invite me back to speak, because I just love Sandy Cove. All right. And I was doing an Authorize Me there at Sandy Cove, and a lady wanted to write her book about her life experience because God did so much for me, you know, and I asked her the same question: who cares? Nobody knows you. Nobody's looking for you, right? What is it about your story? And she couldn't, she was just having so much trouble verbalizing it, and not a problem. That's why we don't do Authorize Me in just one day, right? She went back to her room and she actually took her storyboard down, put it up on the wall of her hotel room, right? So she could think again, brought it back the next day. She said, I've got it. What God delivered me from was shame. There it is, right? Women and men, I'm sure, but this was a book for women. Women deal with that all the time, right? How do I get over this shame, right? I don't even want to, it seems like it's just whatever I've done is like written in indelible ink, right? On my forehead or something. If you have an answer, you have a comfort for shame. Yes, right? And then that needs to show up in the title, that needs to show up in the subtitle, whatever it was, see? So yes, now that is what your book is about. Deliverance from shame. Oh, you see what I mean? So all memoir writers, right? What kernel is it? What is it that God allowed you to live through so that you could be his witness on this, right? Write about that, not about you. Write about that, and that will be what we will pitch to the publishers. Okay. All right. Perfect. See, I told you, I bring you down just to build you up. Okay. All right. How will this book be unique? Think about that. Any of these questions that you could answer, right? Think about what will make people pick this book up off of the bookstore shelf, right? You are asking people to invest their hard-earned money in this book. Why is somebody going to buy it? All right. You've got to be able to answer these questions. Okay. So I want you to switch your thinking from this is the book I want to write to this is the book that people are looking for. This is the book that people need. Get into the head. We're going to talk a lot about, I'm doing it too early, but it's just fitting here. All right. Felt need is the key point, right? Felt need. When we start out as writers, we all do it. We write what we want to write. Or as Christians, here's a good one. We write what God has told us to write. Okay? And let me give you the hint right now. If this is your first writers conference, do not say that to a publisher, an editor, or an agent, right? God gave me this book. Because here's what you're actually saying when you say that. You're saying, if you're really spiritual, you'll see that this is from God and you ought to, wait a minute, right? Hold on. That's why we're all here in this community, right? God can give you an idea, but he brought you to me, right? so that I can help you to formulate it and edit it and all of that thing. Think about everyone who has ever become a doctor. They had the idea that they wanted to be a doctor. They might have even had the calling to be a doctor. But I bet you in every single case, they went to medical school. They didn't just say, I was called to be a doctor, so I'm walking up in the hospital. No, they had to be trained to do what God called them to do. Look at that. So in the same way as authors, God's called us. I'm not doubting that God has called us to write. But you need to go to medical school. You need to be trained, right, to do your specialty. Yeah, that's good. Amen. That's a good one. All right. I need to be doing a keynote. No, anyway. All right. I'm teasing. One idea per card on the distinctives. All right. Okay, where are we? Okay, 8:38. All right. Moving to the next column. All right. The next column is audience. Audience. Right, so this column goes to the right of distinctives. Okay, and you're going to answer on separate cards. For whom is this book written? Okay, so here we go. No book except the Bible is written for everybody. Okay, that has been done. It's a bestseller. Okay, all right. We would love it if everybody read our books, obviously, right? But even the bestsellers started out with an audience in mind. They did not start out going, this book is going to be for everybody, right? The Purpose-Driven Life had an audience in mind, right? The Prayer of Jabez had an audience in mind. That it blew up was just a wonderful thing, right? And with the Prayer of Jabez, for example, then the Prayer of Jabez for teens came out. The Prayer of Jabez for kids, right? And each one of those books, even though it had the same theme, it was written toward that particular audience. So you've got to have an audience in mind. So your primary audience is who this book is really written for, right? So like I said, my new parenting book is for parents of adult children, right? And more specifically, adult children who are tripping, okay? Right? Right. Now, can people who have younger kids read it? Yes, they would be smart to read it, right? But that's not the audience. That's not the specific audience, okay? Can grandparents read it? Obviously, right? But you have to have that primary audience, all right? I write most of my women's books are for Christian. I know that I write for the church. So I know that I write for Christian women. All right. So my latest women's book just came out 2020, A Woman God Can Bless. Right. I know it's for Christian women. It's based on a passage of Ephesians. Right. Now, can women who don't know the Lord read it? Sure. Right. Can they come to know the Lord? Yes, they can, but it is not an evangelistic book. Right. So I am clear about what my audience is. If you're not clear about your audience, number one, well, the bookstore won't know where to put the book. Right. And you have to know how to write for different audiences as well, right? A 25-year-old does not read the same kind of books that her grandma reads. They're just not the same audience, right? My millennial boys do not read the same books, right, as a college professor, right? Only they did when they were in college, and then, now they don't read those books, okay? And they still read books, hallelujah, all right? But, so that's the idea. So your primary audience is who the book is specifically written for, and then the secondary audiences are those audiences who will like maybe buy the book for the people who are in the primary audience. If you're writing a Christian book, pastors are in your secondary audience all the time because they recommend books to people, right, in their congregation. Stuff like that. So primary audience, secondary audience. And then we talked about this already, and this is probably the last point we can make today. This is the last slide for this session. And then we meet again today at 4. All right. And we'll start from here. But your readers' felt needs, you want to put up on your storyboard, because this goes under audience. What are they needing? What the people who are in this primary audience, what are they walking around subliminally saying, right? That if they were to walk into a bookstore, right, and see a title, what that title would speak. Like the lady who was writing the book on shame, right? She would have to have shame or something somewhere creatively in that title, so that when that woman went in the store looking for a birthday card, right, and she saw that book about shame, because that is something that's coming up from within her. That's felt need, right? So what are the felt needs or motivations of your audience? And you want to list them. All right, so as my pastor says, I'm not out of message, but I am out of minutes, okay? So we will get back together and start right here at 4 o'clock Eastern, which is 1 o'clock for me, right? So great to meet you all, and I hope that you will continue with me for the rest of our time. Good?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so Deborah or Donna, do I turn it back over to you, or that's just it?